I'm starting with the sample practical test. Okay, so if you see, the first thing we have to do is actually, it doesn't say, but the first thing we have to do is actually get your client computer and your server communicating. Okay, that includes setting a static IP address, and we've been doing that every week. And I've done that for us. Okay, I've done that for before because I didn't think that was a big deal. So basically, if I go back to my Windows 7, I've already signed a static IP address, but the key thing is the IP address, the subnet mask, and the DNS for Active Directory. That's the key things. So basically, once I've set that, I usually, yeah, you install DHCP later on, but until you install DHCP, you still want to communicate. I usually do a ping to the server to confirm that communication. Remember, if you remember from our troubleshooting part. Okay, let's switch to the server. Okay, so this is the server, and the first thing we are asked to do is actually create a home folder. And if you don't understand the point of the home folder, it's basically for the people's home directories. Yeah, but there's a folder that contains everyone's home folder, right? Yeah, so that's the home folder, and everyone's home folder will be inside of there. I'm not going to have, let's say, 200 home folders directly on my C drive. Doesn't make sense, okay? Alright, so I'll create a home folder. The next thing we need to do is actually create a organizational unit. So I start up the Active Directory users and computers. And obviously under the W2KAD domain, I can click on the create new organizational unit button. I always like to uncheck that because that makes it annoying to delete it once afterwards. I'm going to call it my surname, which is Zal. Brad, can I get you to open the door, please? So Zal for me as the organizational unit, and with it inside that, it's asking me to create a couple of more organizational units called. So again, inside of this, so to create inside is just like a folder. You select it, then you create inside of that, and it's one's called Office Administration. So the whole point of these organizational units is to actually have a hierarchy, okay, of different departments in our organization. Another department would be finance in this case. So this organizational units, if you had to design it from scratch, usually reflects your business organization. Okay, another one is the directors. Alright, so in the appropriate OUs, create computer accounts for the following. There's a couple of OA01, OA02. Obviously, that stands for Office Administration. So computer accounts. You know how when you actually join a computer to the domain, it automatically creates a computer account. But if you want to reserve a spot for that computer already, you can actually go ahead and create a new computer. If I think that was part of your worksheets anyway, but this is the computer name OA01. Okay. And then we're gonna do another one. So you can actually do another one. Go new computer OA02. It's just you guys. It's going through the network. It's not lagging for me at all. So, but can you guys see it properly? Yeah. Yeah. So for the finance, there's a computer as well for F01. F01. So basically, this is just an example of creating computer accounts, and in directors D01. Okay, so far so good. I think nothing too important. The next part, it says to rename your Windows 7 computer to be your surname 01. So I'll go to the Windows 7 computer, right click on computer, properties, and this is where we go change settings, and we click change. It's a bit laggy now. ZAL01. ZAL01 is what I'm changing it to, and I'll click OK to that. So it actually changes the computer name. I've been told by some people that you can do change of computer name plus joining the domain in one step, but in the past I haven't been able to do that, so I'm just gonna do a quick restart of the Windows 7 to change the computer name, then I'll join the domain, then I'll have to restart it again. It would be good if I can do all that in one step, but I think the computer gets a little bit confused as to whether you change the computer name or the domain. Okay, so you know how if while we're waiting for it to start up, you know how we create that home folder, right? So in order for someone to map their home directory over the network, this folder has to be available over the network, doesn't it? So even though it doesn't say to share it, it's testing your understanding for the fact that in order for something to be available over the network, it must be shared. So I'll right click, property, and we'll go to sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder, and I'll go to the permissions, and we always in our practice share it with full control to everyone. And by doing that, we know that when we assign the NTFS permissions, it is always going to be more restrictive than full control. So therefore, wherever we assign as the NTFS permissions, eventually will override or will take precedence over the shared permissions. So in some of your assignments, you didn't show me the sharing at all. Some of you, okay? So it's important for me to see that it's actually shared. It's also important for me to see it's actually shared with full control, because if you don't share it with full control, even though you might be assigning the right permissions, NTFS, because when they combine with read-only, you're going to end up with read-only anyway, which defeats the purpose of what you did on NTFS. Okay, so my computer account should have workstation should have restarted now. I typed in the wrong password, so I'll do it again. And now I'm going to join it to the domain. So similar procedure to change the computer name. Right click, properties. And I'm going to change it to the domain. Okay, so if you didn't know the domain by now, we've been using every class. w2k8ad.local is the domain. And you can always check by going to your domain controller and checking anyway. So I'll use an account with enough powers to join this person to the domain. And in this situation, the administrator works fine. In another situation, you might use a different account. Yeah, I statically assigned the IP address to the client. Remember I said that? Yeah, that's okay. That's what the first thing I said. I said I'm not going to show you that because we do it all the time. Alright, so that's now restarted. But if you notice, when we go back to Active Directory, you'll find under the computers container, you'll see that there's the ZAL01, which is my computer. And according to the test, we're supposed to move that to the directors organizational units. It's simply a matter of drag and drop. And you'll see it's in here now. Okay, so that's a check. That would be part of the, if that was a thing requirement, that would be one of the checkboxes that I would be checking. So now we need to create the users. Okay, so if you look at the first user, Rachel Jones, if you notice, she's a member of Office Administration Department, server operators. So they're the group memberships. But if you didn't know, server operators is a built-in group, whereas Office Administration Department is not actually a group yet. But if you read on the test, you'll realize that that's a group we had to create. Okay. So Office Administration. department. Obviously, that means that she is part of the office administration. Okay, so this is where we create a new user, and her name is Rachel. Surname is Jones, and our naming convention in class has always been R Jones, as in first letter of first name and the surname. And we'll make a password 1. I won't force it to change the password because this is only a test situation. I don't want to be changing passwords all the time. And there she is. Okay, the key thing there is to make sure she's actually in the office administration department. Something I did forget is the home directory, but I can change that later. I can open up the properties. I can go to accounts, profile, and I can say connect, not local path, because they're not going to log into this computer, the server. They're going to log into a workstation. We're going to make it the H drive, which is, if you read on, it's what's required. The UNC, which is network path, is basically / / server name, in this case server 1. Okay, if you're unsure about your server's name, you could always check. And you can see server 1, okay? And then the share name, which is home. And then, because this user, you could just type their username straight in there if you wanted to, but I like to use the variable %username, which will substitute whatever the username of this person is and create a directory for them. If I click OK to that, I can quickly check and confirm that in homes, there's R Jones is being created for me automatically with all the right permissions automatically associated with a person's home directory. And finance department. So I haven't created the groups, obviously, so I'm going to have to put those as members later on when I create the groups. So finance department, I'm going to create this Phoebe Reynolds, so new user. At this point, I could almost copy, I'll show you, I could almost copy Rachel here. Sorry, dude. When I mark your test, I'll make sure you check for Y's. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would not be the thing I'll be checking, okay? So if you have something that resembles Phoebe or Phoebe, I'm not going to worry about it. But the reason why I copied it was because you know how I use that username %? That means it's actually going to automatically include that property in there. So obviously you're saying, oh, it's the wrong department, isn't it? Well, I can just drag and drop into the right department now. Okay? And that's same as Joey Bruce. So this is exactly what you would do if you had a template. You would just copy it. Okay. And in the real test, you might be asked to create a template, in fact. Okay, so again, I would check that my home directory, Joey Bruce, is there, and I've dragged it into the right organizational unit. Everyone get that, don't they? Yep, okay. And obviously we need some groups now. Okay, so if I read on, I realize that basically there's only one type of user in each of those organizational units. Okay, so unlike the assignment where you had managers and staff, in this case there's only administration staff, finance staff, and directors, which makes it a little bit simpler. So if I go to office administration, I need to create the groups according to the AGDLP. Okay, even though it says it later, but even though I might not say it straight away, that's a test for you to remember that it's always AGDLP. What does that mean? That means I put counts into global groups, which I signify by GG. Office admin. Okay, so I'm going to call it GGOA. It doesn't really matter what you name it as long as it makes sense in some way. And we also need a domain local, and we're going to call this DL underscore OA access. Again, it doesn't matter what you call it as long as you can sort of recognize that's what's its reason. Okay, so AGDLP says that the members of a global group are users, and in this case it's going to be Rachel, so I'll just find Rachel Jones. And the global group is also a member of the domain local group. So again, I'll click check names, OA access. So basically, if you are doing your assignment, you want to show me the memberships, you would get the global group, you go take a screenshot of that, and then take a screenshot of that, and that will show me the correct memberships. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the same thing with the finance department. In this case, we're going to go new group, new global group, GG Fin. Yeah, and DL Fin access domain local. And again, if I actually go to members, add Phoebe, a member of, add DL, in this case just be careful, DL Fin. And then finally same thing for directors. So it's a bit repetitive in the sense, but it's some easy marks there. Jurors. And again, membership, members, at Joey, check name, Joey Bruce, members of DL. Okay, so everyone gets the AGDLP membership. Okay, but if you go back, you'll notice that Rachel is also a member of server operators, and so is Phoebe. Okay, so which means that if we actually go to the built-ins, there should be a group called server operators. They're a special group. They're people who can actually log into the servers. Okay, operate the servers. So we'll go to the members, and we can click add, and we can add Rachel. And we can also add Phoebe in the one step. Phoebe, okay, Phoebe. Alright, there you go. Okay, so I'm just adding them both to the server operators group. I've chosen to do it this way because this is more efficient. So you would choose the way which is more efficient to use, okay? And the other one was the print operators, and that was Joey Bruce and administrators. So in that case, he's going into two different groups. It's more efficient to go to him, go to member of, and we add print operators and add administrators. Okay, so you notice that I've done it the opposite way now because it's more efficient to go that person add the two groups. Okay, so that's the correct membership now. Okay, now on the we asked part 3 is sharing resources. We're asked to create a folder inside of your surname, we had to create a folder called your surname. So, and inside here I've got a folder called data. Oh, okay. I'll change that later. So, the home. Okay, so let's just check. The only thing when we're moving folders is that the sharing. The sharing, as long as it's still shared, it shouldn't matter where it is on the local file system, okay? Because when you're sharing it, it still appears as server 1 home. Okay, so basically under data, okay, so let's go to data. We've got some folders, don't we? So we've got common. Oops, data. And we've got directors. office administration, and we'll go to common. You got common's got nothing else in there. Directors has got reports. Yeah, because if you look at the hierarchy on the diagram, yeah, if if that was the only problem, I wouldn't worry about it. But you got to understand that by not having the right hierarchy, you're not going to get the right permissions inherited downwards. Yep. So yeah, I'll get a ruler and line it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. Budget and well, it might be, but this is the way I like to do it. You do it however you like to do it. Yeah. Control delete. All right. Employee data. Oops. Employee forms. I spelled it wrong. Flyers and brochures and logos. Okay, so basically all this is really Cert 2 stuff, so not really gonna worry about that too much as far as how you spelt it or how you created it. More so how you assign the permissions. Okay, so even though we created a hierarchy structure and it seems like a bit of a waste of time, it's important that you get the hierarchy right so you get the inheritance right. Okay, so the thing tells us share the data folder. Okay, so share the data folder. When we share, like I said before, we always share with full control to everyone. So it means everyone can access the data folder now from the network with full control. And by default, if you notice from the NTFS folder, NTFS permission should I say, users, which is everyone in the domain, has read access to contents. Okay, so I don't need to change anything of that right now. And the next thing it says administrators should have full access to all folders. Well, all folders are inside of data, right? So I would give administrators, you know, obviously it's got to do with ease of access as well. You don't go into every folder and give administrators full access, or if it's not administrator, someone else full access when you know that they need it for all of it. So you do it right at the top. So that's to do with your understanding of the planning. But you'll notice that administrators by default have full control to things, so that's already done for you, in fact. Okay, so the next one is users in the directors department should have modified permission to all folders. So to all folders, isn't it? So again, we would go to the highest level, and we know about inheritance. So we would edit, we would add. We said DL, we assign according to AGDLP. So we assign the domain local, and we need to give directors, the domain local directors group, modify to every folder. So that's every folder data and down, basically, okay? Office administration needs modified permission to all folder under the office administration. So again, this is thinking about hierarchy. Do I go to every folder under there and do it individually? Or do we go to the highest level that we should get access? And we edit this, and we add the DL office administration. You notice that I have users in there already. Users means everyone, doesn't it? So unless it says everyone should have read access, you should by default remove this. So let's actually, we can't remove because it's inherited, so we'll do this. We'll go to advanced, and we'll go change permissions, and we'll uncheck this, but we'll click add, which will retain everything else that was inherited. But we're going to get rid of users because we might be giving people access when we don't actually want to give them access because they're users. Oh, well, creator only means whoever created this folder. System means the operating system. So they're things that we don't need to worry about. Okay. Let's see, what else? Finance modified to the finance folder. Okay, so similar thing now. So we go to security. Yes. Yeah, I'll show you now. So I'll click add. I'll click OK. I'll go to edit. I'll get rid of users first of all, and we'll add DL. I think this is finance, isn't it? So DL will check name finance, and I'll check modify. So I did it before, but I did it in 2 different steps rather than 1 step. Okay. And then finally, office. Let's see, office administration. Yeah. Then user finance, modify finance. So users in office administration and finance need the right access to the common folder. So this is the common now. Okay. So again, we need to make sure we get rid of users, because it's obviously doesn't. We don't mean everyone. Okay, and we'll edit. We'll get rid of users, and we'll add DL. In this case, we want finance and office administration, don't we? So we'll select both, click OK, and we need right. So we need to add right to the list. So right is a level access, if you like. If you actually give right, you actually mean everything below right as well. Okay, so don't uncheck those other ones. It's just like if I give you full control, I don't want you to uncheck everything else. I want it's like up to full control, if you like. Okay, so same with the finance, and we'll click OK. Okay, each work group should not have any access to any other work groups folder. Okay, so I think the only thing is directors. We still have users, so we need to get rid of the users from there. So everyone understand what I'm doing with the users? Okay, so basically everyone, users is everyone. So if I actually leave users in there, it's actually giving everyone else access to this folder. Did I miss someone? Directors. Oh, okay, well I've already done directors at the high level anyway. Okay, so that's going to filter down. So if I want to check that, you'll notice that it's actually already in there, even though I didn't put it there. Okay, yeah. It's default permissions. Okay, so whenever you create a folder, it's going to inherit from above, and from above, right, the root directory or C drive, that's where the users are getting their thing as by default. Okay, did you have your hand up there, Kane? No. Okay. All right. So remote desktop. Configure remote desktop on server. Use administrative account to control it. Okay, so basically my permissions have been assigned correctly now. Remote desktop, if you go to remote desktop worksheet, involves doing this. Go into properties, remote settings, choosing one of these 2, probably the third one is the most securest, and then we can actually select users if we wanted to, but if you notice, it's saying that administrator already has access. And in the test we asked for administrator to have access, so as long as we enable it, it's good. Okay, it's easy peasy, that part. Fault tolerance. Fault tolerance, we're going to add RAID 1 to the boots and system partition. So what does that mean? That means that we have to add extra virtual hard disk. But if you notice there, we need a drive for backups as well. So we probably need to add 2 extra hard drives. It doesn't matter if you do on 1, but you probably have to add 2. So what does that mean? That means I have to shut down my server. Blah 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 is the reason. It's a very good reason. And this is your VMware skills now. So obviously that wasn't part of this subject, but you know that was a part of the other subject. So it's all related in a sense. But even having said that, it's all in your worksheet on how to add an extra hard drive anyway. So we'll edit this machine. So basically, if you notice that my original hard drive is 80 gigs, okay, it's obviously hasn't added the whole size, but in order to mirror something, you need to be at least the same size as that something, isn't it? So we need to add a hard drive for mirroring, and we'll create a new virtual hard disk. All this you can leave default, and because that one was 80 gig, I have no idea in my head without checking checking first how big that system partition and everything is, but I know the virtual disk is 80 gigs, so I should add 80 gigs. I might call this server RAID as the name of it. Okay, finish, and then I'll add another hard drive for backups. So I could have put it on the same disk, but I've chosen to keep them separate, just to keep it straightforward. Okay. You could, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You could have kept it both on one, but I've chosen to be very clear. This is for RAID, so that's going to be exactly the same size as the original hard disk, and this is for backups, which can be any size. And that's what I've done. Okay. So I'm now, oops, what do I click add for? Click OK. So now I can power it on, and I should be able to RAID the system drive up. But in real life, when you have a server, obviously RAID has to be real physical drives. So you would actually put a new physical drive in. The backups can be a remote drive, it could be a USB drive, it could be a network drive. Okay, so it doesn't have to be an internal hard drive. In fact, backups should not be installed on the same server that it's backing up, because if the server gets stolen, the server gets burnt down, you're not going to have your backups anymore, are you? So somewhere over the network or even over the internet these days with your sort of cloud storage services is probably a better option for backups as an offsite secure backup. And to be honest, like the backup and the RAID recommendation on the assignment was a really easy 2 marks. Okay, so some people did it, some people didn't do it. So for those people who didn't do it, you sort of missed out on 2 easy marks you could have got. So I'm just waiting for the server to start up. But as you can see, I've sort of up to the number 5 fault tolerance now. Okay, so with the previous parts, this is sort of, we don't really need this so much anymore, but if we didn't get this part right, later on when we map the network drives, it wouldn't work properly. Okay, so it's going to be important later, but not just yet. So you notice I'm doing this not as a slow speed because I'm not leading a demonstration. I'm doing it at sort of normal speed. But hopefully this video will work out so that you can actually go through it over and over again as much as you need. Probably on the L drive. That's where it's got the most room that I can put stuff, because I have a feeling this video is going to be over 100, 200 megs at least. Okay. So now I've added the hard drive, I need to do my RAID. Okay, so basically, if you remember, we go to our server manager, we go to storage, we go to disk management, and we have these 2 disks which are allocated. So we make them online. Okay, and then we initialize them. Okay, and then we have to convert them to dynamic disk, if you remember. Okay, and now the dynamic disk, I have to remember, if in our practice in our class with this, because this has this system reserved, that's actually the boot partition. Okay, so we have, in order for this to be bootable, I have to mirror both. So I'll add a mirror, I'll put on disk 1, which is the 80 gig drive. There you go, and it's going to sync, and it might take ages to sync, but I'm not really so much worried about it being in sync, more so that you do have this mirror configured. Okay, they're going to resync, and that's going to be ages. So I think I need a simple volume for this one, and I'll just quickly create a volume for this drive, and it's going to have a drive letter after I create a volume for it. And obviously it's the next part of the part 5 is actually, I should have put in dot points, but the next part is actually a backup, and we know that in order to have the backup software, we need to install the backup role. Oh yeah, that's later, isn't it? Yep. So I'll install my DHCP. Good thinking. So what my friend over there, Clinton, said was that I'll need to configure DHCP. So if I'm installing roles right now, I might as well select the DHCP, and it's a feature. Yeah, that's all right. I'll cancel the role then. I'll go to features instead. So add remove feature, and let's see where it is. It's in the Windows. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Windows Server Backup features. So that's the backup server backup, which is what I'm after. Okay. So just have without my glasses on. It's hard to see those little writing when you need to. Yeah, when everyone's watching you, especially. Okay, so I'll do the DHCP a little bit later. While I'm waiting for this to install, I could work on something else, but let's see. Got a bit of time. Let me just see how. Yeah. DNS is pretty straightforward. So, but I might do it in order because I think we should have enough time. I don't want to confuse people by jumping all over the place. Yeah, stop jumping, Alex. You know, like you guys will probably be thinking in this logical step. So I might as well create the video if it works out to be in those logical steps. Okay, so I've installed this feature. Okay, so which means that I should be able to launch my, oops, wrong one. My Windows Server Backup program from here now. Okay, it says to schedule a daily backup. Okay. Sorry, that's still loading up, sorry. So I have to be a little bit patient, I guess. I'll just close this other window in the background. Okay, here we go. Backup schedule. Okay. So what am I backing up? The server state data on your server. So it's only the server state backup, okay? Yeah. So next. Now I'm going to be custom. Full server means it's going to back up everything, okay? So I'm going to be custom, which means I'm going to choose what I'm going to back up, which is not everything. So in this case, I'm going to choose only system state, and you know that system state is basically your Windows folder on your C drive, your registry, your Active Directory, all those kind of things, and I'll click OK. Next, it's once a day. When do I want to do it? It doesn't say when, so in the test it doesn't matter when you choose it, but a good time in general is after your business is finished, while it's not running, okay, while your people are not changing the data. So maybe 2 a.m. is a good time if you're a normal business. Okay. Okay, backup to a hard drive that is dedicated for backups. Well, in this case, yeah. Show available disk. Here it is, and I'll choose it. I'll click OK. I'll select that. Yeah, it will be reformatted, so I didn't really have to create format it in the first place, but I just did that just in case. Forgot whether I need it or not. So basically, once this reformats that disk, it's gonna create that schedule, and then when it's 2:30 a.m., it will do a backup. Okay. So we'll just do that format. Okay, so while this is happening, I don't want to waste too much time. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the next step, which is the domain security, which is all about passwords. If you remember, that was group policy. So group policy management is what we need for that. And if you notice, this is talking about the domain. So really, we're not actually modifying, not creating any new GPOs or group policy objects. We're just modifying the default domain group policy object. Okay, there it is. You can see that's a shortcut, and it's linked to the whole domain, which means everything inside the domain will obey by this policy. So if we want to edit it, we'll just edit it there. And I think it's computer policies. Windows settings, I think. And obviously, it's actually something we did in the worksheet. And if I was really lost, I would go and look up that worksheet and find exactly. So it's in security settings, account policies, password policy. Okay, password history 5, password history 24. So I'll change this and we'll change it to 5. It's already enabled, I believe. Yep. And maximum password age maximum here 20 days, I think it says. It doesn't say minimum, so we don't worry about the minimum. The characters, 8 characters is defined as 7, so we'll right click properties, change it to 8. And account lockout, so that's here, lockout policy. Lockout threshold is what it's asking for, 2 attempts. And it's saying by defining this, you're actually turning those things on, which is fine. Okay. So it's going to put it as set as default as 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Reset the counter. It doesn't say what to set that to in the test, so I'm not worried about that. But you'll realize you won't be able to do this unless you turn those 2 things on anyway. So that's that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Next thing is DHCP. So we know from VMware that the VMware workstation has its own DHCP server. So you'll notice that my server is actually on the VMnet 1 or the host only server. So you see how that's enabled? So obviously we will disable DHCP server on that particular network. Okay, so if you remember, that was what we did in for IVM test. If you got that part right. Okay. Okay, so the next part, it even tells you how to do it in the test. Okay, so it's not a test on how to do that, but you should almost assume that you should be able to do that. Okay. Now DHCP server. Remember, Clinton said we had to install a role for that, so we'll go back to roles, and we'll add a role. Next, and it's the DHCP server role. There it is. And next, that's the interface. It's going to listen for requests. That's the only interface, and that's yes. The parent domain is actually, it doesn't say in the worksheet, but that is our domain. That's the domain name suffix that we want to give it to. The preferred DNS, well, that's not going to work for any other computer, is it? No, what's the DNS server? 20.2. Okay, so that's actually this actual server 1. Okay, it is the DNS server. Wins is not something we require these days. And a scope, we're going to add a scope. We're going to give it doesn't say the name, so I'm going to call it the test scope. Because this is for a test. The starting IP address is 192.168.20.101. And end IP address is 192.168.20.200, is it? Yep, 200. And it doesn't say about how long the lease is for, but the subnet mask has to be that. Oh yeah, gateway. That's good thinking. It does ask us to do a gateway, which is .1. That computer doesn't actually exist, but there it is. And we're not going to enable IPv6 in this subject. And we're going to use those credentials to actually start the service. And afterwards, after we install it, it should already be configured with what we basically need. We don't have to change it anymore. for this test, we've kept it pretty easy and straightforward. In the worksheet, we did more than that, if you remember. In the assignment, we did a little bit more than that. But in this test, we're going to just ask for the basics, and that's really pretty straightforward. Okay, come on. Okay, let's, what does it say there? Automatic updating. Okay, let's have a look at what's happening with the DHCP server. So if I go to DHCP server, it's actually down. What does that mean? It hasn't really been authorized. So we need to actually authorize it. It's not going to work until it's authorized. And then we can actually so let's have a look at F5. Okay, it's all green now, okay? And the best way to test it is to go to our Windows 7 computer, which we will log in, we might log in locally for now, which is the local user rather than the domain user. It doesn't matter for right this second, but it will be better. Now we should be able to actually change it back to automatically obtain IP address. So this is what I did previously, Joseph, that I changed it to a static. But right now we need it back to be automatic because we've got a DHCP server now. Okay, it's taking its time. So while I'm there, I might just start a command prompt. And we'll do an ipconfig all to see all the actual settings. It's actually given me a 169.254 address, which is that PIPA address that we talked about. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. That means that we may not have got it quick enough, so we're going to release and renew to re-get our IP address if you like, and hopefully it's just quickly check that's on host only, but I guess we pinged before, so it should be anyway. And over here that's so host only. It's taking a bit of time, so I'm not sure what's going on here. It's all up and running by the graphics it's showing me. So if we actually so you know how I went through that installation, I configured the scope, right? It's saying me, it's saying that I don't have a scope, so that's okay. It gives me the opportunity to show you how to manually create a scope. No, it shouldn't be that problem, but let's actually right click here, new scope. No, shouldn't have to. Okay, so we're going to call this the test scope again. And it's 192.168.20.101 and 192.168.20.200. And exclusions, I don't have any. The default lease time is fine. I want to configure some of these options, and the router is the actual gateway if you didn't know, and we have to make sure we click add in order to add that option. The domain name is fine. The DNS IP address is not fine, so we have to put in our, it is very laggy now. It's probably that syncing that we would, that RAID that's happening in the background. lot of data. Okay, so that's the DNS settings. What happened there? Alright, so that's fine. Win server, no. Activate the scope, yes, and we'll finish. And at least we have a scope now. And let's switch the Windows 7 and try it again. Hopefully it's a little bit better now. And just, it's all active, the scope is active, it's authorized, it's all that, and there we go, okay? So for whatever reason there, it didn't pick up the settings when I put it in straight away, but at least I showed you how to do it manually after the fact anyway. So here it is, we've got the right IP address, which is in the range, we've got the right subnet mask, we've got the right gateway, we've got the right DNS server, and we've got the right domain name suffix, which is what I'll be checking. Okay, now let's get down to, DNS, wasn't it? Next thing is DNS, so alias. So some of you struggled with this in your assignment because you put www as an alias to www dot wherever. Well, that's the alias to itself, isn't it? An alias is another name for another computer. In this case, the other computer is server 1. Okay, in this case. And we're going to give it an alias of DC because it's the domain controller. So what we do is right click, new alias. The alias name is DC. But it's going to be an alias or another name for, say, Joseph. For example, your name's Joseph, right? But you might have a nickname called Joey. No. Oh, I'm going to call you Joey from now on. That's your alias, okay? So that alias is like that, another name for someone or something, or in this case, a computer. So server 1, the alias for server 1 is going to be called DC. You notice that the fully qualified domain name is dc.w2kad.local. But that is an alias for that. So if you actually want to test this working, I would go to the client computer and I will use the command ns nameserver look up dc.w2k8ad.local, and here we go. So that is going to get into this IP address, which is correct, but you notice it's that is the alias for that, which gives me that. Okay, so if you substitute that for the assignment, you will replace the DC with www, and that's the only difference. Okay, so that's the alias done. And last of all, the mapping of the drives. Okay, so if you notice, the mapping of the drives is for pretty much everyone we created in the Active Directory, right? So obviously every one of our users exists inside of Zal, don't they? So again, understanding that who this drive mapping applies to allows us to find the right place to create our group policy object. If you actually modify the default domain policy, it wouldn't matter today. But in this case, that would apply to everyone in the domain, which might not be what you want. In this case, we want to apply to everyone that's in Zal, isn't it? So that's where we would create our group see you later, guys. Group policy object. So we'll go to Zal, we'll go right click, create a new GPO and link it here. We'll click OK, and there it is. Yeah, but it just might give you results that is outside of what you actually want. Okay. So I might call this the test GPO because it's for the test. So you can rename it. So now I'll edit it. And the mapping of the drive. You notice that the home drive, that's already done, isn't it? As part of your user properties. So I don't need to worry about that in our group policy object. What I really do need to worry about is actually the mapping of the data. So remember we shared data, didn't we? So drive mapping. So now we're going to create a new drive mapping, and we're not going to choose update. A lot of you chose update because that only updates existing drive mapping. What we're going to do is do a create, which will create a drive mapping if you don't have one, which is what you want for the assignment, because you're not always going going to have one on the new computer, are you? So we're going to find, well actually, sorry, I should put it in. It's going to be server1 / data, which is the share name. If you're unsure about that, go back to your data folder, and you can see that's exactly that UNC path. Okay, so that's what I'm basically typing in. Where is it? Too many windows open. Here we go. So data. And what letter do I want to make it as? R, don't we? So, sorry, use R. Okay. It doesn't matter because every time we log in, we're going to run through this group policy object anyway. So it will create it every time anyway. So it doesn't matter if we choose reconnect or not. Okay, so that's that, and we'll close that off, and I might log in as an example user to the domain and see if we can actually. Oh, what did I shut down for? That's a little bit wrong. Yeah, I should have done something like log off or switch user, but I chose log off for some reason. So in the video, I'll edit it out, all my mistakes, okay? So I look like a really awesome lecturer that doesn't make mistakes. 10 minutes, more like 10 minutes of no errors. But you might miss out on most of the content. But the fact is, in the test you got 2 hours, okay? And so far I've used maybe an hour and a half. Hour to get to this stage, and I'm pretty much done. Okay. Like I said, it's going to be probably 65 to 70% similar. It might be structured differently, but it's Thursday. Yes, this Thursday. So, well, if I made a mistake, point it out. Yeah, where have I made a mistake? Phoebe. That's it. I made a mistake there. I typed her name wrong. Okay. P Reynolds, and password 1 is the password. Password? Yes, capital P. It's always capital P. That's our standard. Okay, so everything we've told you is password 1's always been capital, okay? So therefore, when you create these users and you don't use capital P password, and I don't know the passwords, and I can't log in, I'm just going to cross it out and say it's wrong. That's it. Alright, so it's logging in, and hopefully my group policy objects has been enabled enough to go to actually do all those things for me. So it's a new profile, so it's creating a new profile for me. That's what's happening. But like I said, in the video, I think I've done everything correctly. If you do find a mistake, make sure you let me know. But obviously, your reference for the test is not this video. You're not going to get this video during the test. You're going to get the worksheets, which, to the best of my knowledge, is actually correct. Okay, so there you go. You've got your H drive, and you got your R drive. Phoebe, she's a member of finance department, right? So therefore, even though I've actually can see all these things, so finance, I should be able to create a new file. Yes, I can, because I have write or modify, sorry. But for the directors, I have access denied because I don't actually have any rights there. Remember, we removed the users. So that shows me that I would check on the settings anyway if I was checking, but that actually physically proves that I've done everything correctly. So that concludes what you're asked to do in the tests, in this sample test. And so I'll stop the video.